ahead, a stone's throw away, was the bakery I'd been told to look out for. Apparently it was on the same street as the hospital, 3 buildings before it. The scent of vanilla is the scent of my childhood, the scent that surrounded me when I was conceived, brought to term, brought to life, the scent of my mother, my grandmother, our house, of all that was good and kind in my life. I spent my first 6 years on Pravda Street, not far from Soviet Hotel, famous for its gypsies to this day, and right opposite the huge Bolshevik cake factory. That was where the smell came from, and I've always been convinced, for as long as I can remember, that the reason the factory bears its proud name is that this is what the Bolsheviks were like. Soft, rich, sweet. My mother was terribly fond of chocolate. Her fingers were long and slender, her nails painted violet, and when, over a cup of coffee with one of her numerous lady friends, she took a diamond or turret-shaped chocolate from a brightly colored box, the effect was beautiful. At 3, I discovered that these chocolate selections were produced by the Bolshevik girl. Different factory, and this made my mind up once and for all about the Bolsheviks, men and women, and resolved that vital childish question of where they came from and how they were born. My picture of the world was complete. We all know how durable the first impressions of childhood are. Even after university, as a grown man and a seasoned journalist, whenever I was asked to write about the Bolsheviks, I couldn't help making them out to be soft and tender. Then I'd tie myself in knots trying to revise what I'd written, but to no avail. They never came out as they were meant to. It's hardly surprising. I was still living in another world, and there, it seemed, I would remain. Thanks to those Bolsheviks, I was taken for a bit of a fool in the paper, though I was liked well enough. Needless to say, my sketches could never be published in their original form, but they had one undeniable quality. The heroes were described with a love and tenderness so genuine that our old newspaper hounds openly envied my sincerity, which, alas, would dissipate the moment someone tried to improve my text. I knew this couldn't go on forever. It was hardly fair that someone else had to do my work for me, and a couple of years later I resigned. It was a painful step. I loved everything about the paper, the very smell of it, and anyway I had nowhere else to go. But then I accumulated a vast quantity of unpublished sketches and stories, and I slowly drifted about. A bit of freelancing here, some hack work there, in search of publications that might find my view of life congenial. In the end, there was probably only one place I could find them, and find them I did, by returning with my Bolsheviks to my childhood, to the place where they and I both came from. 10 years have now passed since the time when editors were only too glad to publish me in Prisoner's Truth, Bonfire, and especially Tiny Tot. Those first books, which are read to children at home, in crèche, at nursery, are mine, because they contain my own childhood, kindness, tenderness, because my Bolsheviks are like my mommy, kind, tender mommy, and children love these stories and want to hear them again and again. Then, like everyone else, my readers grow up, discover the world, realize that communists weren't always kind and soft, but their love for them remains. I don't think I have anything to be ashamed of. I wrote honestly, and I wrote what I thought, even if now perhaps my stories look a bit naive. My little books about Lenin eventually made my name, and shortly before the story I'm about to tell, I suddenly received 2 very flattering offers. Offers I could never have dreamt of earlier. Many years before, while still at university, I wrote my thesis on the wonderful French writer Madame de Staël. I continued to collect material about her and even dropped off a proposal for a book about her at Young Guard Publishing House for their series Lives of Remarkable People. Nothing came of it, of course, but just recently, when I'd forgotten all about it, Young Guard sent me a letter declaring, amidst a flurry of obsequience, that if I hadn't changed my mind, the publishing house was ready to sign a contract with me. The book on Madame de Staël had already been scheduled. A month later to the day, I had only just got started on the project. Politsdat invited me to contribute to Fiery Revolutionaries, an equally popular series. It was mentioned, moreover, that my reputation was so irreproachable that the choice of both hero and era would be left entirely to me.